Hello and welcome back to the third rail. We have a new addition to the collection this week. I just received this little passenger train and I thought we should have a first look at it together. Let's start with a quick model overview. This is a Märklin product, of course, set 2660, representing a Bavarian Express train of the Deutsche Reichsbahn. It is a one-year-only edition produced in 1988, and it can be found on page 41 of the catalogue that year. As was the norm in the early days of digital, the set was released in two versions, the analog version under reference number 2860, and this one, the digital version, under number 2660. Both sets are cosmetically identical. Included are an EP5 locomotive, a first-second class express coach, a third-class express coach, and a luggage van. All coaches in this set were made in cooperation with Trix in Nuremberg, which was still an independent company at the time. I could not find a Trix reference number for these coaches, so I am assuming that some of the development and probably most of the productions were contracted out to Trix in this case. This set must have been quite popular though, because it was followed by the release of a complimentary two-coach extension pack in 1990 under reference number 4261. On to a few vital statistics. The overall train length achieved with this set is 85 centimeters. The coaches are finely detailed and fitted with short couplings. The luggage van also has 4 sliding doors. As far as the locomotive is concerned, it is based on the existing tooling of the Class 152 of the Deutsche Bundesbahn, introduced in 1983 under model number 3366. The locomotive measures 19.8 centimeters buffer to buffer. It is a plastic body on metal chassis construction. Technically, we have a motor bogie fitted with a 3-pole AC motor, driving 2 axles fitted with 4 traction tires. The motor is controlled by a Type 6080 decoder or a mechanical reverser with electronic pre-reversing unit for the analog version. Looking at the cab, we have 3 electric headlights, a plastic hook coupling, and this goes for both cabs of course, and the lights are directional. On the roof we have pre-war style pantographs that can be used for overhead operations. Now let's have a quick overview of the prototype. The set represents an express train of the Deutsche Reichsbahn as it operated in Bavaria in 1926. I'll start with a few words about Bavaria to bring things in context. The electrification of railways had been a hot topic in Bavaria since the late 19th century. Aside from perceived technical benefits, there was also an element of prestige, as King Ludwig II had been a big fan of anything electric. But there were also very good geopolitical reasons. The Kingdom of Bavaria was heavily dependent on coal imports from Prussia, and electrification was seen as a mean to regain some independence. In 1904, the kingdom signed a treaty with Austria-Hungary about cross-border railway connections. This included the connection of the planned Karwendelbahn and Außenfernbahn from Seefeld to Reutte, both located in the Austrian province of Tyrol. The connection would run through the Bavarian alpine localities of Mittelwald, Garmisch-Partenkirchen and Griesen. The company who was awarded the franchise for the operation opted for electrification. The Mittelwaldbahn, as it became officially known, opened in 1912, first under steam on the Bavarian leg, before going fully electric in 1913. This proved the technology was good enough to be considered in other parts of the Bavarian network. There was, however, a major hurdle to overcome. The kingdom lacked the infrastructure required to power a large electric railway network. It is only in 1918, after more than 10 years of planning and political towing and throwing, that a project to build a hydroelectric power station at Walchensee was finally ratified by the Bavarian Parliament. Construction began immediately, and despite the political and economical turmoil that followed World War I, proceeded with almost no interruption until its first turbine sprung into action in 1924. The power station's first customer became the Bavarian portion of the Mittelwaldbahn, allowing it to switch away from the Austrian supply it had been using since its opening. While all this was going on, the Kingdom of Bavaria had ceased to exist and was now the Free State of Bavaria, member of the German Empire under the Weimar Republic. As with other German states, its railway had been absorbed by the Deutsche Reichsbahn, but Bavaria had maintained a level of independence in the process and was treated as a separate entity with its own administrative body, the Gruppenverwaltung Bayern. To ensure the economic viability of the brand new Walchensee power station, the Reichsbahn embarked on an ambitious program that would see the size of the electrified network in Bavaria grow from approximately 90 kilometers in 1924 to over 700 kilometers in 1930. The Gruppenverwaltung Bayern had its own budget and engineering department, and it could set its own standards up to a point. The development of locomotives for the new electrified network would therefore fall under its remit. The commission of the EP5 was part of its first locomotive program in 1922. The group needed a heavy passenger locomotive able to operate on the tight curves and steep gradients of the Bavarian hills and mountains. The chosen design was seen as innovative at the time due to its choice of motorization. 35 locomotives were ordered. They were built by Krauss with electrical components provided by Waseg, a AEG Siemens joint venture for this project. The EP5 was quite a heavy thing. Weighing in at 144 tons, it remains the heaviest electric locomotive ever to operate on the German rail network to this day. It could reach a maximum speed of 90 km per hour. All units entered service between 1924 and 1925. The class was deployed exclusively in Bavaria, and we can see a test train of one of the first examples in Garmisch in 1924 here. It was first painted brown, and its cab faces were fitted with central doors and movable footplates. These were removed later on. The class was renumbered to E52 in 1927. I think this is also the time when the livery started to transition to green. 33 units survived World War II, and they were all transferred to the Deutsche Bundesbahn, who in turn quickly withdrew another 3. The class was redeployed to the Nuremberg area, where it took care of passenger services until the early 1960s. Around that time, the Bundesbahn had begun taking delivery of their latest unified designed locomotives, and they started the progressive withdrawal process of the E52. In 1966, all remaining units were relocated to Kaiserslautern, where they would spend the rest of their career. There they would be assigned to light freight and shunting duties, as well as the occasional passenger service. In 1968, the class was renumbered to 152 as part of the Bundesbahn's computer-based numbering program. The withdrawals carried on until the last unit left service in 1973. Whilst the majority were dismantled upon withdrawal, a few units were repurposed as stationary auxiliary transformers used to warm empty passenger train, and they could still be seen in some depots until the 1980s. Our prototype is the only surviving example, having been withdrawn in 1970 after over 1.7 million kilometers. It was restored to its original livery and cab configuration and is now on display at the DB Museum in Nuremberg. I think the locomotive can still roll, but it is no longer operational. This completes the high-level overview of the prototype. You'll find links to sources of information as well as picture credits of the material used in this video in the description down below as usual. Now let's have a look at my 2660 finally. Here it is. The shop I bought it from described it as in new or near new condition. So let's see what we've got. The box is in excellent condition, with just one or two price stickers and minute storage marks. Good start! Let me open the box. We have all the paperwork. We can see the instructions also apply to the 3366. So we are indeed dealing with the same tooling here. The plastic tray cover has not yellowed, which is very good too. Right, let me try and get it off without damaging anything. This can be a faff sometimes. And there we are. Well, the set looks very nice. Let me take everything out of the box now and rearrange things a bit so we can have a closer look. This is indeed looking promising. Okay, time for the close-up. Here's the logo. Lovely livery, no scratches or defects. Look at the lovely details. For me, the pièce de résistance is the cabs. I love the details there with the added door, the handrails and the footplates. Very nice. Looking around, the good story continues. There's nothing to report other than that the model is very nice looking indeed. The chassis looks like it hasn't seen much action, but we have round wheels here, so I might not be able to tell. But it does look pretty new to me though. Looking at the roof, everything is there, a lot of isolators which are all still attached properly. Excellent. For comparison, I took the 3366 out. Here we can see the main differences between the two models with the different pantograph types and cap faces. Otherwise, we are just dealing with a good paint job here. Incredible what a bit of paint can do. Okay, now on to the coaches. Luggage van first. The sliding doors do slide. The roof is in good shape and we have a very good level of details, especially on the gangway collections and bogies. Very nice. Here's the third class coach. Striking little thing. Here is a closer look at the side with its very fine lettering. It is also carrying a good amount of weight. And finally, the first second class coach. We have the same level of quality here, also relatively heavy. Yep, I think the set was worth the money and really was something special. It looks like the shop didn't lie to me. Time for a quick test on the layout. And there we are. We'll start with the locomotive. I'll start by railing it. The EP5 or BR52 is always a bit of a handful in this respect. There we are by the looks of it. I'll bring you a bit closer now. Cool. Time for a bit of power. And we have a nice short. What have I done? The model is not railed properly after all. Let me fix that. Okay, try to. There we are. Moving forward. And backwards. The headlights don't work, but we have a digital locomotive running in analog mode with a 6080 decoder, so the lights don't power on. That's normal. Let's give this thing a spin on the ground loop now. And we're off. Oh, it's a very noisy thing. but it manages the turnouts and braking sections as well. We have a bit of hesitation on the curve there, and we are back. I think this engine needs a good thorough service. So let's check the inside quickly to check everything is as it should be. I've checked the traction tires and they are completely loose, so this will need sorting out. Right, let me take the body off, and there we are. A very nice little 6080 decoder with all its dip switches. All original. Good stuff. Right, I'm going to try and assemble the entire set now, just to see, but the performance is going to be atrocious. So we'll do this for science. There we are. Off we go. And we have even more noise. It looks like the coach axles all need some attention. What a horrible racket. I wanted to have a go at the main line, but this turned into a derailment festival. The coaches either don't like my curves or I have a few coupling issues, which I think is more likely. So the set will need some more TLC before it can be enjoyed fully. Sounds like this might become a topic for another video. So I think I'm going to stop the video here for today. I am very pleased with my purchase regardless of the test. I was never a fan of this class of locomotives, but this set might have changed my opinion a bit after all, and I absolutely love the coaches. I am sure the set will feature in a future video one way or another. If you have made it that far, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. This is much appreciated. So are all the subscriptions, likes, comments and shares you have been kind enough to give me. I find them very rewarding and they are a good incentive for me to keep publishing content. They are also the best way to increase the visibility of the channel, so if you haven't already, many thanks in advance for whatever options you end up clicking. Bye for now.